Hey, lovely people. Hey, lovely people. How you doing? It's me, John. I hope you're really well. Come on in. I've come a few minutes early just setting up. So just bear with me. I hope you are well and happy wherever you are in the world. So welcome to my Instant Body Booster. This is my midday class that I live stream just to help us connect with our bodies with a bit of positivity and to importantly de-desk our bodies. So if you've been spending quite a bit of time in a seated position this morning, this is our time to kind of re-energize, connect with ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, but just kind of 15 minutes of posture enhancing mobility stretch exercises just to really enhance our physicality and to hopefully get more out of maybe the rest of the day. All right, so what I'd like us to do is we're going to start this session, in fact all of this session and this week when I'm teaching live on Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 12:30 is going to be focusing on happy hips and hamstrings. So we're going to do this session actually all on the floor, and you may actually want to have a towel to get a little bit of assistance, maybe lifting yourself a little bit more or protecting your knees. So if you're ready, come on in, make yourself at home, and we will begin. Now, happy hips and hamstrings are really important to kind of open up this area, because when we spend a lot of time in a seated position, we tend to get very tight in the hamstrings, in the hamstrings at the back of the leg, but also important are the hip flexors here. And the hip flexors are involved in any movement that takes us forward. And when they get tight, because they thread through and attach to the lower part of the spine, we can sometimes experience discomfort in the lower back. So having good mobility in the hip area is really beneficial for our posture and our well-being, and just feeling more comfortable in our movement overall, the quality of our movement, but specifically also in our walking and with our WalkActive technique. So we find there's a really good synergy to maybe do this before you go out and do your WalkActive. And if I maybe had a little wish list, it would be actually you do this session and then you could piggyback on maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes of WalkActive and sort of see how your body feels. And that's a really good package almost, if you think about it, for your mental well-being, physical well-being, and also for your cognitive well-being, because the bipedal movement of WalkActive is really great to enhance your creativity and your productivity. So gorgeous people, come on in, say hello, and we will begin. So we're going to start this session actually lying down. I've got easy access to a towel if you need it. I'm just going to put it to one side, but we're going to actually start this session completely flat on the floor. So this is a really nice way if you had a bit of a stressful start to the day. So just ease yourself back down onto the floor. And what I'd like you to do is just stretch the legs out all the way along the floor. And you may find that your lower back just comes off the floor just a little bit. Just wriggle your toes and extend your arms right above your head. And we're just going to start today's session just with 3 big deep breaths in this position. So as you breathe in, just try to gather a little bit more length, stretching your fingertips a bit further away from your toes. So your lower spine may come off here a little bit, and that's absolutely fine. Just stretch and try to go a little bit further, and then just ease out of that a little bit. So maybe you're a tad longer than when you started the movement on the first stretch. So let's do 2 more of those. So gather a little bit. I quite like to reach a little bit more from each side, almost like you're gathering space, stretching a bit more, reach. And then just ease off a little bit. So feel how maybe we're gathering a few more millimeters of space between the toes and the fingers of our body. So we're occupying more physical space in the world today. So stretch. And then just ease off a little bit. And maybe your body feels a bit more lengthened. That's good. Now, from this position, your palms are upwards. I'd like you to actually just bend the elbows. So your elbows now are level with the shoulders and the palms are up. Now, this is a really nice position just to open up the shoulders. And at the same time, just bend the knees so your feet are on the flat on the floor. Just adjust your pelvis a little bit if that feels comfortable for you. And bring your feet to the same width of your mat. So you actually feel you have some a little bit of floor that you can feel, but also a bit of mat. Okay, so your feet are probably wider than your hips. If you're comfortable with this hand being open, that's great, because that gets a real nice openness of the chest. If that feels a bit uncomfortable, just bring them by your thighs. So whichever feels comfortable for you. So from this position, lovely people, just think about dropping the knees to the same direction. And we're just going to do a little bit of what I call rock and roll. So we just gently, as we come back, Draw the abdominals in. We're just dropping the knees to both sides, taking them gently. Just be respectful, nothing too strenuous. You know, the body needs a little bit of TLC, and this is all that this is about, just connecting a bit more. So as we drop the knees down, think about a bit of distance between the pubic bone and the sternum. So the abdominals are actually responsible for a little bit of work here. Tuck the tailbone under as you draw the knees into a central position, and we'll just do one more on the other side, feeling a bit of breadth across the upper body as well. And maybe this hip comes off and you just feel a bit of a stretch. It's just putting movement into the lower back. And then come to a center position. And then from here, wriggle the feet in so you're a little bit more central. Okay, so the feet, excuse me, bless me. And then take the hands down by your sides. And then what I'd like you to do is just bring one foot in towards your chest, if that feels comfortable, and rest this foot on that knee. So you almost like a letter or a number 4. So the knee drops out, and depending on how tight you may be in your hips, that's absolutely fine. Don't need to judge, just try to get a little bit more movement. Now, if that feels comfortable for you today, and bearing in mind we're just easing into the body, you can thread your hands through this hole and lift the supporting leg off the floor. Just a little bit of stretch. So you may well feel the stretch on the outer hip here, a little bit on the hip. Now, this is classically a glute stretch, stretching your bottom muscle. And what I'd like us to do is actually move through this. So I drop the toe down just gently, and then I'm going to bring it in, just nice and smooth. Think about distance between the pubic bone and sternum as you do this. Just trying to give a little bit of movement, saying, hello hips, how are we doing? And just do that one more time. Nothing too strenuous. And then rest that foot back down, ease that one down, and then just walk through the feet a little bit. So just get a little bit of movement through the feet. And we're going to repeat that on the other side, okay? How are we doing today? Bring that foot up, rest it on that knee, and just feel how that is for you. So we're on the other side. So you feel the little bit of an opening. So for me, I feel a bit of a stretch here on the hips, and it should be gentle. It should be exploratory. It should be curious, but it shouldn't feel like, ow, okay? So you're just opening up that hip. See how that feels? If you feel you want to progress it and bring that foot off the floor, and bearing in mind, the closer this thigh comes to your chest, the more you'll feel a stretch in your glute area and all your hips. And we store a lot of emotion in this part of the body, so taking lots of deep breaths in just to release anything that you might have in your body. And let's introduce a bit of movement. Just drop that toe down nice and gently, and then bring it in. And again, just drop that toe down and bring it in. And if you want to make it a bit more challenging, the further you kind of point the toe away, the more you'll get a bit of core. So just sort of be exploratory as you come back and revisit this. Bring that foot back down, and then you're going to take that foot back down to the floor. So both feet on the floor. Just wriggle the feet, put a bit of movement, maybe take the toes out to the side, keep the heels still, bit of movement. And then when you feel comfortable, just drop both knees over to one side, roll that body, and you're going to come up nice and gently, and I'm going to invite you to come onto all fours. So this is where you might want, lovely people, to put a towel underneath your knees, okay? Your choice, just fold it if you feel a little bit sensitive underneath your knees. We're just going to rest it there, and I'm going to invite you to come onto all fours, all right? So from this position, just get the setup position correct, because by getting the body in alignment and thinking about it through length and strength and space, we really encourage the body to use the muscles in the right way. So from here, your shoulders are over your wrists, your knees are underneath your hips. I'd like you just to bring your weight a little bit onto both this side. So you're thinking about even weight on the hand and on the knee. So I have 4 points of contact, but I've just brought it onto one side, and then I'm going to come through back to this side. So it's very gentle, but if you're still thinking about having length through the crown of the head as well as the tailbone, this is a really good way just to help the spine get some alignment, especially if we've been sitting down at a desk and everything gets compressed. So we've got both weight on the hand and on the knee as we come to each side. And then from here, I want the upper body to stay still and just actually shift the hips one side and then the other. So this is a bit different from what we're doing. There's now more focus on actually just sort of shimmying the hips from one side to the other. And as that feels comfortable for you, you can just sort of maybe give a little bit of a hip hitch. So the hip comes closer to your shoulder, come back, and then just come to this position on the same side. So by just opening up hips like this with these what seems very subtle, gentle movements, it all helps with how the muscles are attached in around the joint area. So we're just opening up, we're being respectful, we're just kind of being kind to our body. Let's do one more, nice and steadily. Good job. Now from here, put your big toes together, lovely people. Let the knees come apart, and you're going to walk the hands down. Now see how you feel. If you're a bit sensitive in the knees, keep the bottom high, but I want the emphasis to be back with the pelvis. So you're going back with the pelvis in that position, and at the same time, my hands are reaching forward. So we're coming back into this length. We're opening the body up, and we want to try to sort of create some new memories for the body so that we create length and strength and space. So seeing how you feel here, if this feels comfortable, the head can come down. If you feel like, wow, that's a little bit low for me today, you can actually make potato fists. So you put your fists on each other and rest your forehead down there, and the knees are wide. And again, come to width that feels comfortable for you. So I'm just going to go with potato fists today. See how that feels. I'm pressing my bottom back and I'm pushing my head long. So we're working to length. Now just take 2 deep breaths here in this position, opening up all this kind of pelvis area here. Take a deep breath in and breathe out, because all the connective tissue in this area can get really tight. And again, breathe in and breathe out. That's great. Now, from here, we are going to draw some emoji smiles. So what I mean by that is, think about where your pubic bone is, and you're just going to drop the pubic bone a little bit towards your toes, towards your big toes, okay? And then from there, think about where one knee is and where the other knee is. And you're just going to push the hips a little bit to one knee, over in that direction. Come back towards my toes, and then push the hips going the other way. So it's not a big movement, it's actually quite subtle. I'm just taking the hips back towards my toes, take it over towards one hip or knee, come back towards my toes, and I go over to the other hip. So the tracing shape I'm creating with my pelvis through the shape of going from my knee back to my toe and then back to the other knee is almost like that little emoji smile. So kind of match that smile that you're making with your hips with the corners of your mouth. So breathe in some happiness, opening up that area that can get really tight. And again, if that feels a bit like, ooh, a bit stiff down there, just be respectful, nothing too strenuous, just ease it out. Really important to kind of get some light into these dark, shady areas. Now from here, gorgeous people, I'm going to invite you to take the hands out and just walk them back so they're underneath your shoulders, okay? From here, bring your weight so the knees are together, and what I'd like you to do is just check that you've got a nice good box position. So again, make sure you're not too small and crunched up here, but lengthen that body, lengthen out. Now stretch one leg out and just tuck the toes underneath and press that heel away. So take a moment here. Notice that I'm slightly back. My shoulders are coming back because I'm putting a bit of emphasis down the body, but I also want to have length through the crown of the body, crown of the head. So I've got an active connection from the head all the way to the foot. I'm warming up the foot, but I'm also probably getting a bit of stretch over the hip flexor. And think about how the crown of the head links with the body right through. So long, long, long. Now the same leg is going to come all the way in, knee to nose. So draw it in, breathe in, draw in through everything so you're nice and neat, and then come back to that lovely long position. So hold it here and do one more like that. So come all the way in and all the way out. Just stretch. Really think about being long through the body. Bring that foot back down. Wriggle the hips again side to side, and then come back onto the other side, okay? So stretch the other leg down, press and imprint that heel away. So take a moment to really feel maybe how you get some stretch over that back toe. Think about keeping the hips level here. So I'm not sinking down on one side. I'm drawing up maybe a little bit through my core, distance between pubic bone and sternum, long through the crown of the head. So it's not just the lower body doing something, it's really engaging all the body. Long and creating that length and strength and space. So take a deep breath in and let's bring that knee into your nose. So control and have discipline. Breathe in. And then you're going to breathe out and just stretch it. So this is a real subtle, gentle stretch session today. And again, breathe in and breathe out. Good job. Now bring that knee back. Again, just shift your weight side to side, reassess where we are, get a bit of movement into that spine. Focus on the length, so apply a bit of discipline, long through the crown of the head, set it up, long through the tailbone. Now come back to the first leg, just stretch it long. So this time press the toes down into the floor, bit of a stretch over the foot, and look between the two thumbs, because that is where that foot is going to go, okay? This foot here at the back is going to come into my nose, look between your two thumbs, and you're going to place that foot there. Okay, now see how this feels. Take a moment to set yourself up. If you want, I'd rather you were on the fleshy part of this back knee so you can take the foot back. Now, if you're quite tight in your hip area, you may feel that your shape of your legs is a little bit more close, and that's absolutely fine. I want you to be comfortable for yourself. If you feel that this is a bit uncomfortable and you want to be a bit higher up, you could take some cushions, or you could have a chair, and you could actually just rest the hand up here so you feel more comfortable. So you listen to what feels comfortable for you, and that's absolutely fine. The body is a gift, and just respect and breathe into it. So from here in this position, a bit of a stretch on the hip flexors. I'm going to invite you just to take the arms above the head if it feels comfortable, just slowly. So on a diagonal. So this will increase the stretch a little bit, but the stabilization here on this glute. So check that you can still see the foot, draw a midline over that knee, over that second toe, stretch, and then bring the hands down, lovely people. Bridge these fingers here and take this arm around the bent knee at the front. So your chest is going to be in contact. Now from here, you're just going to have a little bit of dynamic movement. So I'm going to ask you to stretch the front leg, breathe in, and then ease forward. Now the breath is really important here, okay? So ease back, nothing too strenuous, just open up. All this area here, so all the muscle attachments are around the pelvic girdle. So we're just actually getting a little bit of space into that area that can get really short and compressed. So we're just working through it. Just give me one more. How are we doing? Okay, nice and smooth. Shouldn't be ow, but may well be a ooh, okay, that's interesting, okay? So from here, come back out of this position, and you're going to bring this front foot back to that position. So draw in, bring that foot back, wriggle your weight again, so you just get that reassessment, set it up. Take pride in how you move in out of positions, because so often people that neglect that. We think about the actual exercise, but how in and out is neglected, and that's equally important. So from here, stretch the other leg down, discipline through the crown of the head, stretch that toe, strength, length, space, spread the fingertips. Now here we go, that back knee is going to come right in here, hold it, look between your two thumbs, that's where that foot is going. So lift it up, place it there. So you know what you're doing now on this side, adjust yourself, see how it feels for you today, because the body can change depending on, you know, sometimes the weather, maybe our moods, maybe what we've done the weekend. So just feel how your body is today and just kind of like it for how it is today, and know that we're doing something that's good for ourselves. So we're going to stretch the arms up, lengthen through the body, breathe in, breathe out. Check that you can see your toes, midline over that kneecap, and then bring the hands down, and the same arm, that thigh, wrap it around, so we've got a little bit of communication happening between the our belly and the thigh, and we're going to keep it there. And remember, if we need a bit height, we can chair in and raise these fingers, and we're going to just stretch back. Now, how does that feel today? This might be going, ooh, hello, a little bit of movement, and breathe in. So a bit of a stretch on the hip flexors, and then ease back to the hamstrings. So far we've done movement to actually help ease the muscles around the lower back and the hip area. And now we're actually doing a bit more stretching and dynamic movement into these areas. So when we consistently come back and repeat this, you'll find that your body will really reward you. It will gift you, and it will say, you know, this is nice. It will really respond. It doesn't have to be strong and strenuous. It's just being respectful about how it feels. So this is our last one here. Take a deep breath in. Bring the hands down so you can bridge those fingertips, or you can bring the chair in, have a little bit of height if you want, or yoga stacks, and put it here, and that foot is going to come back to join it. Now reassess where you are. Come back to bringing your weight onto both sides. So even weight on this hand and this knee, long through the crown of the head, and then bring it to the other side. So challenging a bit of balance here. Long through the spine. Do that again. Good job. Now, from here, I would like us to draw circles with our shoulders. Start small. And as we start to kind of repeat this, start to explore how far we can come back towards our bottom, coming towards our heels. And so we start to get a little bit of lower spine stretch. But again, this all adds into the movement and the range of motion we have in the hips. Give me one more here. How are we doing? All right. Take a deep breath in. We're nearly coming towards the end of these 15 minutes. So just ease forward. So everything is just being nice to the body. And start small, see how that feels. And you can just progressively build it up so you get a little bit bigger. See how your wrists feel as well, because sometimes our wrists can get a bit weak. So press that first finger and the first knuckle into the floor. And then from here, come to a point of stillness. Okay, wriggle those hips in. And I'm going to invite you just to come onto a sitting position. So we drop the hips down to one side and come to face me, all right? So with your towel, I'm going to ask you to sit cross-legged, or you can be out here to the side, or you can be on your knees if that feels more comfortable for you, whatever feels good. If you'd like to have a little bit of lift, so you feel that you can sit up straight as opposed to lean back, you might just want to take your towel and just stick it underneath your bottom a little bit, so that gives you a bit of lift, okay? So I'm going to stay in this side position so it can hopefully help you see where I'm going. So my spine is long. Now take this side here, girls and people. So you've got your thumb and you've got your little finger. So your thumb is going to come into your ribs, little finger to your hip bone, and just really lift tall. So you've got that length. Now I want you to mimic this when you're actually sitting at your desk and sitting in your chair. So rather than actually letting this area become lower, we want to keep the distance of the internal obliques long. So having distance between the ribs and the little finger and the hip. It's really important to stretch up tall. Now one hand is going to come down the floor, keep that length, stretch the other one up really lovely and tall, and then reach over. So it's almost like you're coming down between two diagonal spaces. Stretch, wriggle the fingers, and then the same arm, you're just going to come up, slight turn of the body to go towards this knee, okay? And what I'd like you to do with the extended hand is reach forward, keep the distance between the ribs and the hips, reach forward, and just come to a position where you've got this length, heavy in the back bottom, and you reach forward so the fingertips come to the carpet or the floor. So you may well feel a bit of a stretch in the lower spine, maybe a little bit across the hips. So all this is going to actually help open up into your hips and your hamstrings. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in, you're going to just trace the hands back along the floor and then come up and then come back with both arms above your head to that lovely long position, okay? How does that feel? We're going to do the same on the other side. So the other hand comes down, reach over to get that length. And I'm going to show you from the front. How are you doing, gorgeous people, okay? Lift up tall, heavy in both hips. Reach over, wriggle those fingers. And as you wriggle those fingers, just feel how all the body is connected. That's a really positive thing. Good, keep the length, keep that ribs up here, stretch up tall, and then from here, you're just going to turn the body slightly so we get this nice mobility in the spine, a little bit of movement to the lower back, and then reach forward. Keep the distance between those ribs and hips, keep breathing for me. Stretch the hand forward, check you're not sinking in here, keep the lift, and come to the point that feels comfortable for you, and just rest the fingertips down there on the floor, keep the length, and if you can stretch a little bit further, you can. Again, lower back maybe gets a bit of a stretch. Just be gentle, just be kind. See how it feels for you today. Breathe in. And then the hand is going to come back. You're just going to come up and you're going to regather that stretch. Bring your arms above your head. Take them wide. Reassess where you are between your ribs and your hips with your greeting. And hopefully you'll take this forward for the rest of the day when you're sitting down at your desk. So you feel more lifted. And we're going to finish this session by just taking the arms out wide. Spread the love. Let the arms really wrap around the body. Hold onto your ribs. Keep that distance between ribs and hips. The chin is going to come down and just let the corner of your mouth rise up. Squeeze in that love really deep. Breathe it in. And just congratulate yourself and say well done for taking this time out. A little bit of time, a bit of TLC for you and for your body and to de-desk it. And then take the other arm out, really hugging that love. So we just create symmetry in that body. Reassess where we are with the distance between ribs and hips. Spine is nice and long. Chin comes down just gently. And as you just let the chin come down, the corners of the mouth are going to rise up. Take a deep breath in. And I invite you to spread our love around the world. After the count of 3, we're going to let it go. Here we go. After 3, and 2, and 1. It's gone. Thank you so much, lovely people, for joining me for today's live stream for happy hips and hamstrings. Hamstrings. I'm going to be progressing this and focusing on this for the rest of my 2 remaining live classes this week, teaching live Wednesday and Friday. If you're on catch up wherever you are in the world, I hope you're well and happy and safe in these challenging times. And these are just designed to actually help improve our posture, totally complement our WalkActive, improving our stride and our posture so that we look and feel and perform better. So from me to you, take good care, have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much, lovely people. That was so nice. Lovely to see you. Take good care. Bye-bye.